Ladies and gentlemen, William Samoei Arap Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya, is under a lot of pressure from ODM party to drop Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki as his running mate in 2027.
Wewe Kindiki, unasikia uchungu sana kwa sababu kiti yako, nafasi yenu inachukuliwa.
Najua tumeongezeka, kina Oparanya wamekuja, wamekaribishwa, lakini hatutoki, hatuwezi waondokea. Tutang'ang'ana tukiwa hapa ndani kwa sababu hii ni serikali yetu. Wewe unajenga nyumba, unaweka plaster, unaweka sofa set, unaweka TV, alafu badala ya kuenjoy unawacha, unaondoka, unaenda kuishi msituni. Mimi siwezi kufanya hiyo kitu.
And ODM is very specific. They want Professor Kindiki to be replaced by none other than Wycliffe Oparanya.
Ukiona mtu ananitusi kesho, ujue huyo ndio nilikuwa naongea juu yake. Kwa hiyo machache, asanteni sana. Sasa nataka kuchukua nafasi hii kualika the incoming Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Wycliffe Oparanya. Karibu sana.
Hata Kindiki mwenyewe analia. Leo huyu Junet Mohamed ametangaza wazi. Amesema ya kwamba kutakuwa na muungano ya ODM na UDA. UDA itachukua President Ruto na hao watachukua Deputy President Oparanya. Na saa hiyo Kindiki yako kwa kiti. Wameanza kumkosea heshima vile walikuwa wananikosea mimi. Na mimi ndio nilisema juzi ya wachano naye kwa sababu najua kikwetu Kindiki ni mtoto wetu. Tunasemanga vita ikija ya muherega. Unawachana na hii ya boma, mnapigana ya muherega kwanza. Huyu Kindiki wanamtesa. Wanamkosea heshima. Sasa mimi nauliza, yeye yako kwa kiti saa hii. Huyu Junet Mohamed anatangaza ya kwamba hatakuwa running mate. Na Kindiki yako kwa kiti. Kindiki anatakiwa afanye nini?
Sasa wewe umeanza kuwa mtetezi wa Kindiki sasa.
Mimi unajua ile mimi sipendi ni dhuluma.
In this video, I want us to analyze that move by ODM party to lay claim to the position of the running mate in 2027. But do you think it's a good idea to replace Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki as William Ruto's running mate in 2027?
Najua kuna uhaba wa pesa lakini anania kuona ya kwamba hii kazi inaendelea. Kwa hivyo nimeona hivyo, nimesema mimi sasa nitakuwa askari wake. Ni askari wake au si askari wake?
We all know that previously the name of Gladys Wanga was featuring prominently. The name of John Mbadi was featuring prominently. And also the name of Ali Hassan Joho. But right now, ODM is narrowing down to none other than Wycliffe Oparanya. Why do you think that's happening? Ladies and gentlemen, the first reason why that's happening is because according to ODM party, they want to consolidate their bases. ODM party has always produced a presidential candidate. And because they've always produced a presidential candidate, that has always given them an edge. But as things stand today, ODM party is not going to produce a presidential candidate. The party leader Oburu Odinga has made it very clear that they are going to they are going to support the re-election of President William Ruto. Which means for them to excite their support base, and the fact that Raila Odinga is no longer on the ballot, they must find something to sell to their people. They must tell their people that as we went to the wilderness to hunt, and this is what we are aiming for, the running mate. Because without the running mate, they believe that their supporters are going to have, they believe that it's going to be very difficult for them to support. They believe that it's going to be very difficult for them to convince their supporters that they are going to the election without anything. So because of that, they want to use now the idea of a running mate. And the consolidation is purely on the account of the lower nation, and the coastal region. They want to use that to consolidate. Number two, there's a very strong belief that based on the current political situation in Kenya, it's going to be very risky to put the bet on Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki. They fear that Ruto might actually lose with Kindiki as his running mate. The argument is that Olkalau proved that Mount Kenya has left William Ruto. So they say that if you stick with Kindiki, and it's not going to get to deliver the votes, sticking with him, therefore, sticking with Kindiki, therefore, would mean that they won't have a reason to convince the people of the Luo Nation, for example, or the Luo Nation, or the coastal region. Or let me put it this way, convincing ODM supporters to vote for Ruto without a deputy president is going to be very difficult. So for me, I think the biggest challenge they have is the fear that because the mountain is gone, if they stick with Kindiki, Kindiki will not deliver. And then, for example, the Luo Nation, if Sifuna were to be made a running mate or even a presidential candidate, then definitely they'll look at it which way. So they'll opt, even if Sifuna is made the deputy president, they'll opt for that. So the thing is, there is the fear of Ruto losing Mount Kenya. Let me ask you this question. If elections were held today, do you think William Ruto will win in Mount Kenya? For me, I don't think so. Number three, the main intention and why they're picking on Oparanya is because they believe that Oparanya can help them tame the Edwin Sifuna wave. For those who've been studying the politics of the Luo Nation, for them to unite has always been very, very difficult over the years. And it is believed that Sifuna enjoys support of Bukusus, that is Bungoma, Trans Nzoia, and that in Busia, ODM has an upper hand, and also in Kakamega with Oparanya, they can compete, and then you come to Vihiga, which is also a totally different ballgame. So the idea is, if Oparanya is now made a running mate, and let's say the united opposition fails to agree on Sifuna and maybe make him a running mate, then there's going to be a fighting chance, because 2027 presidential election in the Republic of Kenya is going to be about two tribes and how they're going to vote. That is the Luo Nation, how they're going to vote, and of course the Kikuyu Nation, how they are going to vote. So the intention really is to tame Edwin Sifuna rise. Number four is the aftermath of the Olkalau by-election. If there's one thing which really shocked the entire country, was the outcome of the Olkalau by-election. The truth is, even the president himself knew that they were going to lose. But by what margin? We are talking of a by-election where the government has placed all its resources, has deployed heavy security, and all government officials from the mountain to go and camp there. Kindiki himself was there. Then at the end of the day, the outcome is 13% in favor of government. 13%. That was a very strong statement. Because if the president had not, let's just assume, the president had not unleashed police, if they had not used the kind of resources they used there, do you think the percentage would have been even 5%? Sometimes I look at it, probably percentage would not have even been that. So this one here means that, so this simply means that the mountain has rejected the president. And the president is now coming to the reality that the mountain is gone. Olkalau was just a case study. And because the mountain is gone, is there need to keep Kindiki? That is the question which they are asking. For me, sometimes I have different theories from most of you guys. For me, I think if William Ruto were to remove Kindiki, shida itakuwa for him. Because Kindiki will give William Ruto the opportunity and the chance to fight. If Kindiki can help William Ruto consolidate 10% of the mountain, the entire mountain, and then lock Mount Kenya East, he will be good to go. And number 4, it also disrupts William Ruto's 2027 game plan. And William Ruto's game plan was very simple. The Western Alliance. Now, in the Western Alliance, we are seeing the emergence of Sifuna. Because Ruto had hoped that, you see, I remove Rigathi, appoint Kindiki. Let me have Kindiki as the running mate. Then now I can persuade the Western through Raila Odinga and the Luo through Raila Odinga and even the Coastal through Raila Amolo Odinga to support. Maybe they were going to negotiate for other things. But that's not going to be possible. So it simply means that William Ruto's game plan has been disrupted completely. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you think. That's my take. Until next time, this is Makwiny. Bye-bye.